Everybody, it's me, Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 Hertz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally, and further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant based diet going for yourselves today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and get with alkalinity. Then you can generate some static electricity. Send me some love telepathically, set attention to your mind, and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to Great Days. I'm going to talk today on separation being an illusion and bringing presence in, and presence being what is pretty much allowing you to break that illusion or dissolve that illusion of separation, right? So let's get into this. Um, so separation is is pretty much conceptual, right? And this is illusory in its nature because once you start to recede a little bit into deeper dimensions of the mind, you can easily experience or find that the conceptual reality that we live within is pretty much it's very surface level. It's very surface level, right? And it's very minute to what there actually is. You know, as you start to go deeper into the dimensions of the mind. Um, so so you find easily that the conceptual reality is very illusory in its nature, right? And because of the illusoriness of it, the uh, the sense of separateness that can come from that can also easily be dissolved away, right? So the space, right, the space between two people, you can easily see as maybe like a disconnection, right? Or maybe something that is separating the two bodies, right? And we've only seen it this way because of a dualistic way of perceiving it, right? Um, but it's kind of an illusion in the way that once you're able to unify the two polarities, which is the yin and yang principles, then self and other kind of become just one entity or one a being. You can sharpen your spatial awareness, or you can even strengthen your spatial awareness, right? This would basically mean that you start strengthening your awareness of the space, right? um, and we all have natural ways of doing this. um, I want to say meditation is a great way, right? Because it is. uh, and all animals kind of use I want to say all animals kind of use meditation as a way of strengthening their spatial awareness as well, you know um, which is needed because it's connective. Once you start strengthening your spatial awareness, especially for people, the illusion of separateness starts to dissolve away, right? And this only happens because the more that you start existing egolessly, which is spatial awareness, because you're putting your awareness on the space. And this is magical because it actually allows you to maybe experience something that is non-egoic, right? So instead of putting your awareness on the body all the time, um, you can like disembody through awareness, but you really got to feel this in order to be able to do it, right? Which is not, it's not really, most people aren't able to feel this as a true experience, but mostly it's too subtle for most people to be able to actually experience, right? Disembodying through sheer awareness and then existing in the space, right? Uh, so so people have a hard time of actually experiencing that or feeling it to be true experientially because people are not sensitive enough, right? Centrally. Uh, and this is only because of a certain conditioning, right? And things like this, we aren't sensitive enough to be able to go deeper into the experience of where it is right here and now, right? But once you can reach a certain level of sensitivity, then you may be able to experience something of a disembodiment, right? And existing purely etherically or spatially. And what this will do for you is like it'll allow you to have an experience of something that is not so attached to the body or so attached to the flesh or so identified with the physical body, but something that is subtler than the physical body, which is ether or energy, right? Or a certain vibration of energy, a certain rate of energy, right? Or certain rate of vibration. Uh, so then, if you're able to have an experience of a higher rate of vibration, you can then identify with that as yourself. And then you can, once you form that new identification that is more subtler than the physical body, then in that identification, you will know experientially that separation is an illusion because you've come into a dimension experientially at that point of identification or at that point of experience that literally proved itself to you that you were no longer separate from anybody, you know, or that the separation that you once conceived was just an illusion because it didn't actually exist, you know. And the ego is kind of like what was keeping you from being able to have that experience or being able to allow that experience to take place, which is one that was of non-separateness, right? So over identification with the ego, over attachment with the ego is pretty much separateness, right? Because the ego is all about separation. The ego is about separation. The ego kind of is all about conflicting, struggle, will, you know, and arguing, fighting, things like this, fear. Um, and because of that nature of the ego as an entity, it it can't actually it's hard for the person with the egoic identification to go beyond that illusion of separation, right, from another ego, because you have to see the duality of it, which comes with the ego, right? Of self and other. You are different from the other person, or you are different from the other force. But in reality, they're one and the same because they're two sides of the same coin, right? And you cannot have one without the other. But people don't actually feel this, even if they know this, right? You can read it on the internet, you can hear it from me, you can hear it from everybody, right? But this is only the knowledge of it, or the knowledge. You can know it, or you can like somebody can give you the knowledge, but it doesn't actually prove it because you're not experiencing that unity for yourself, right? And it's when you start to feel it and you are able to experience it in its totality, that unification with everything, that you're then that you have then touched upon the truth of it, right? So the actual truth of that experience comes with the feeling of it, right? Because you can't actually, you can know it, you can like study it, but it doesn't really, it's not backed up until you're able to experience it, right? Or it can happen the other way around. You can never know anything about it. You can have never studied it, and then you can have the experience of it, and you can like work it that way, you know. But the experience needs to be there, right, in order for you to actually be able to identify with the non-separateness of ego dissolution, um, which can easily come with spatial awareness, right? Because the ether as the fifth element is, I want to say, in a normal, quote unquote, normal state of consciousness, is like a separation type of, or like you want to label it as separating you from other people, right? But that's not actually what it is. The space is just an extension of your body, um, or if not an extension of your body, is your body, because it is your body, right? We're literally living within ourselves, microcosmically to macrocosmically. Um, but I guess also with a certain level of knowledge, if you study enough, you can easily come into that experience, right? Because that experience of oneness, because the process, it's giving you this information, right? That you're studying, and then you experientially sequence it in a way that it proves itself to you, right? So you can kind of like come to ego dissolution purely through obtaining knowledge, right? Um, and a lot of it comes from coming to the present moment as well, right? Which is literally a necessity, actually, uh, because you need to bring in presence into the you need to bring in presence, or you need to come into the present moment, actually, to to dissolve away the entanglement or the illusion, right? And what that does for you is it allows you to see what is true, and allows you to dissolve away what is an illusion, right? And one of the illusions is that separation doesn't actually exist, right? That's just one of the things that comes with the ego, but the ego is just conceptual, uh, as an entity, right? So when you start to bring in your awareness into the present more often, right, which is literally meditation, once you start becoming more meditative, once you start becoming being here now, rather than projecting yourself into a time and space that is not currently here and now, it it allows you to kind of step into a clarity, right? And that clarity can allow you to walk right up into higher dimensional understanding, which is what is needed for spatial awareness, right? Or spatial awareness is a higher dimensional understanding from more of a egoic understanding, right? Or individualistic understanding, more of a collected understanding, um, a spiritual understanding rather than like a physical understanding, right? Which they're also the same thing. So because everything is spirit, um, or everything is God. God is spirit, right? Um, so separation is illusion. The more separation you feel, the more separate you feel from reality or from yourself as a universal organism, uh, the more egoic you probably are living, right? Or the more you are able to connect yourself and see beyond separation as an illusion, the more that you're going to be connected with the present moment, the truth, being, and God or the universe, the same thing. Um, so if there's separation, you got to find the methods that work best for you. Or if you feel as though there's separation that is kind of like bugging you out or like making you miserable, then you got to find whatever methods work best for you as an individual in order to strengthen your spatial awareness or be more present here and now or dissolve the ego away, you know, so that you can actually see or experience the fact that there is no separation and you're not separate from anybody else, you know, uh, and there's only one mind, there's only one body as well. So this then leads to the realization that all is pure unconditional love, because at a certain point you reach certain level of awareness from being more meditative, or a certain level of awareness from being more present here and now, that allows for a very deep love or gratitude or bliss or peace or silence to grow within you. And that's what is needed in order for you to conjoin or reconcile the opposites, right? So if you just keep going with that, you know, and the most simple way is to just be here now, right? Um, you can also just go with the flow of things, and eventually it'll happen for you. But if you want to accelerate it, you got to put more effort into it, right? But it happens easily eventually, in accord with its own song, right? So the separation, the concept of separation is illusion, does not exist, okay? And the ego kind of builds this purely for its own play, right? But once you start to dissolve away the ego, that whole little concept of separation and the whole feeling, if it is there, kind of dissolves away along with it, right? Um, and then all that's left is just love, because that's all it actually is, because it's all consciousness, energy, light, right? And because that is the truth of it, it also allows for that expansion of awareness, you know. So That's gonna be it for today's video. I do thank everybody for watching. Peace out, one love, and have a great evening.